What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Miss Sophia the Diva. And I know I'm behind on my reviews for Power, but your girl has been busy working on personal growth and development. I just finished this book by Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic, A Creative Living Without Fear. I think that's the proper name of it, but it's really good. It's by the same lady that wrote Eat, Pray, Love, but it's a very practical, straightforward guide that she wrote more so for herself than others. And then now I'm on this book by another chick called Sarah Knight, and I love it because she's like straight no chaser type of chick called Get Your Shit Together, basically. How to stop doing what you think you ought to be doing and start doing what you should be doing. But you got to prioritize is basically what that's about. But comment down below, let me know what self-help books have helped you. I just thought I would plug that in there, but we are not here to talk about books. We are here to talk about power. Yes, honey. Free Ghost. At least in this episode, because y'all know I'm 2 episodes behind. This is Power, Season 4, Episode 4. We're in this together. Now, this your first time here, and you like what you hear, and you like what you see. Hey, boo. Hey, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, thumbs it up, and let's have a discussion about power. Let's get into it, because you know what? We're all in this together, okay? My first question from this episode is, how in the hell is Kanan still walking around free as a bird? Like, ain't nobody see you? Like, don't folk know you supposed to be dead? Like, what the hell? This episode, I'm going to try to just do some highlights. I will comment on some of the more minor details, but let's just get into it. As always, the opening, we open with Ghost working out, and the cruddy ass marshal still creeping around there, terrorized him, almost killed him. I was like, I hate the fact that Charlie Murphy died during this time, during this show, because I'm like, that was a horrible role for you to play, Charlie Murphy. Like, we love you and you playing this cruddy marshal, but may he rest in peace. But he was so mean. He was trying to kill Ghost, talking about, yeah, them cameras don't work. What you looking at? Them cameras don't work. I was like, the setup is real for this. The cameras don't work. Anything can go down in the fitness room. Tommy is staying with Tasha and the kids. He done duck and dive on Keisha. That could present a problem in the end for the family. You know, Keisha the homegirl, but at the same time, we got to protect our interests. Angela, when will Angela ever learn? Stop going to these men in your group. They don't give 2 fucks about you and your opinion, because quite frankly, they don't care. You messed up. You're that typical female. You slept with this dude. Just in their eyes, you just a hoe. Now, they'll sleep with a hoe, but you can't be a hoe. That's the rules of the game, Angela Valdez. Okay? Once again, throughout this episode, we hear everyone saying something about we're in this together, we're all in this together, and there is no doubt that people are not all in this together. So everybody's like, we want James St. Patrick to go down for killing Greg Knox, and somebody was like, I want him to get the needle, and then Angela's like, that gets we're all in here together. So there's a problem for them, the prosecution, because the gun that they thought was the murder weapon is in fact not the murder weapon. Tasha's gun came back clean. They prompt Angela. Mox comes to him, the Asian dude, I think his name is John Mox, and tells Angela, go see Tasha, basically. She goes to see Tasha. She tries to pull this angle about, we're all in this together. How about we just let him go down and we come out on top? Because Ghost didn't tell her, or James St. Patrick didn't tell his wife that Angela had come and made some deal that she couldn't even make. And it was like, girl, what are you thinking? And then even John was like, why would you do that when you don't even know if I'm going to actually go with this deal? And so Tasha, it learns that this deal was presented, even though it's bogus. She pretended that she knew, but she didn't, because, girl, your face was a tail. Angela knows that she's not cut out for this, even though they were raised in the same hood. Angela ain't cut out to be street either herself, okay? Her and Tariq probably ride in the same boat, because, you know, we really want both of them to end up dead to the pavement. After Tasha and Angela have their little tit for tat, Tasha immediately goes to see Ghost and tells him, you better tell me everything that goes on, because we're in this together. Remember, everyone in this episode is in on something together, okay? James, baby, you better tell Tasha everything. She got your back. No, or what is Issa Rae's nonprofit called? We got y'all. She got y'all, okay? She got y'all. She holding it down. trial prep time is going on. Terry Silver is really trying to push the button. I should say Terry Silver. I thought they were calling him Terry Silver. Anybody else think that? I did. Okay. But we learned that it has gotten back to them that there are persons of interest that the feds had interviewed that are associated with James St. Patrick. And Terry doesn't seem to grasp that there is nothing wrong with going back to the hood and reaching back and putting your boys on, because let's be real, in the prison industrial complex, once you get caught up in the criminal justice system, who is really going to hire you and give you a chance? And I love Proctor. He's like, he's a Homeboy Industries. I was like, look at you. Y'all in New York, but y'all know about Homeboy's Industry over here on the West Coast. So that's how they're going to present him, as this businessman who goes back and helps out the community. I think that's a great defense strategy, quite frankly. I would do it, hell, if I was representing somebody like Ghost. I'll give it this. Terry is an excellent attorney, but I still don't trust him. So after the discussion about this gun, because I think that's when it comes out that he was telling Terry that that gun is not mine, and I don't know where they got it from, but I didn't kill Greg, and when I went to his apartment, that phone wasn't there. So they decide to have a motion to suppress. They ain't happy about that. Mike Sandoval comes up with some bogus stuff to go on with because of this, as a result of the motion to suppress, because Proctor is a damn good attorney, okay? He got rope-a-dope style with the black FBI agent. What's his name? Donovan. They were wondering, like, so they're talking about, is the chain of custody good? And they're like, yeah, the chain of custody is good. Well, we open up at this motion to suppress hearing. Agent Donovan pulls a Samuel L. Jackson. Boy, Proctor starts spinning some yarn about how, hey, dude, how do we know that you're not the mole that Greg was talking about, and you've been compromising this whole investigation this entire time to frame my client for you being the mole? And he said, wait a minute, mother sucker, let me tell you something. I risk my life every day on this job. And I was like, oh, shit. And then that's what Terry was trying to school James on, is the fact that, look, angry black man right there. That could be you on the stand. So he was like, motherfucker, some bullshit. And I was like, oh, hell. And Judge Tapper just sitting there like, what the hell? What just happened? So they know that they're screwed. They know they need a new strategy. So Sandoval's wheels are turning. And some kind of way they figured out that there is a tie that binds between Tommy and Ghost. They decide that Proctor cannot rightfully represent without a conflict of interest. And what happened, that offer that Angela made ended up being able to be used in their favor. Because even though she didn't have the authority at the time to present this deal, it still goes to show that his judgment potentially may be clouded by not allowing his client to consider the deal. But Ghost told them outright he wasn't going to take the deal. So I don't see how that's a conflict of interest. And then the only other reason, like we all said, it could be a RICO case. If you remember RICO case, usually the mob bosses are always tried under a RICO case. So they end up going in the judge's chambers. Proctor is no longer on the case, but not before he got through that Hail Mary. Thank God the gun is out. So not only is the gun out, the DNA is out. Sadly, Proctor is out. I don't know about anybody else, but after watching this episode, I'm saying, oh, Jesus, God, what we gonna do? What's Ghost gonna do, Lord? He ain't got no... Well, you know, Terry is good, but like I said, I don't trust that brother. Especially, how you gonna roll up on your client, tell him that you all that, and you just scum of the earth? Okay, but he paying your bills. He paying your bills. What you doing representing criminals anyways? I mean, I don't get it. Terry obviously is a man conflicted. Maybe he wish he had been a bad. My only thing, y'all talking about conflict of interest. How is it that Angela is on this case? She slept with both people. She slept with the deceased and she slept with the defendant. How is she on this case? How is this under violation of model rules? We talked about this the last episode. I don't get it. Terry, on the meanwhile, like I would have done, well, Your Honor, given the gravity of the situation, I think we should declare a mistrial at this time. And Judge Tapper was like, nice try, boo. I don't think so. Proctor is pissed. So he goes and gets white boy wasted pooches on over to Angela's apartment and lets him know that everything that James ever did was try to protect you and keep you safe. And now you done fucked up. He didn't do this. I promise you. Angela starts reviewing video from the club. And I did find this out, and I was wondering, I said, because when Sandoval went in there into the club to dump that gun, I was like, aren't there video cameras in there? Sure enough, they are, but they were conveniently cut off. So Angela watches these videos, and that's when she finds out that on the day of the murder and all throughout that time period when Ghost was still free, or James St. Patrick was still free, not once did he go over there to the bar. So Greg, you stupid because you went to the wrong area to try to hide a damn gun. Proctor also said something very powerful too to Angela. He goes, the whole time I was telling him to choose himself, but he chose you. He chose you. I'm sure he wanted to add you stupid punta, but he didn't. As you know, Mobster Tony, we theorized from here on out that is probably Tommy Egan's daddy. You know, they want him to go do this drop to the wife. He does. Some dude answers the door. He's watching Judge Judy. I thought the exchange between them was funny because Tommy is like, so this is what retired bosses do, mob bosses do all day and watch Judge Judy. He was like, yeah, I like the way she tells folks to fuck off. There was a message, in addition to Tommy doing his $20,000 drop off to Tony Teresi, as I call him, Mobster Tony's wife, he was also going to try to figure out about somebody named Stiletti, okay? I guess Mobster Tony must have at one point murdered this Stiletti dude, which was part of one of the mob families. Everyone has a tale, and so Tommy's like, so who did you kill? Did you kill, hell, I don't know, Mickey Mouse? You killed the Cheerios rep? You killed Stiletti? And he was like, in the look, and even the wife had walked in, and she had this look on her face, like, what the who knows about Stiletti? Basically, she was like, who are you? And he was like, I'm a friend of your husband. My husband has no friends. I said, Lord, for you to be sick unto death, you should roll hard, Mrs. Teresi. Girl, go lay back down. Go lay your sick behind back down. At some point, the dude calls Teresi in prison, because, you know, they got them prison phones. And he asked him, you hear Teresi saying, is it him? And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's him. And I'm like, who's him? And even the wife was asking, who's him? And she was like, y'all better stop lying to me. This is my motherfucking house. Y'all got to do what I say. So I don't know. I really think Tommy is Teresi's son or nephew or somebody. He got to be somebody special to him. I don't know. Wasn't Tommy's mom like a crackhead prostitute or something? I don't know. I know she loved her coat. Prior to being removed from the case, Proctor confronts that blonde-haired dude that was Greg's confidant when Greg was out there doing illegal wiretaps and stuff on Tommy and Ghost and Ruiz. They had him trying to be a mole because they had put Ruiz between a rock and a hard place. And at that time, everybody was stressed out trying to deal with Milan's crazy behind. So Proctor tells Bailey, I think that was his name, that if you don't play ball with us, I'm going to file a subpoena. Because whatever it is that he has, the prosecution doesn't really want to use him because it would mean that he would have to implicate somebody in their roster. So they don't want that to happen. So he agrees to come over to Proctor's home. Proctor informs Tommy. Tommy is like, okay, cool, I want to be there. So they listen to this tape, right, over and over and over again. And it's not good. But here's the thing, people. To not have a warrant, that's an invasion of privacy. I think that's the Fourth Amendment, a right to privacy, and not without warrants. And that would be fruit of the poor. Is it the Sixth Amendment? Y'all know it's been a while since I've had to study for the bar exam or have taken a crim pro class, a criminal procedures class. So bear with me so my lawyers out there, y'all can correct me. Don't worry. It won't be long before I start studying for the bar again, I guess. I hate studying for that shit. But either way, the rules of procedure say that if it's fruit of the poisonous tree, there is a way to remove the taint. But based upon this, honestly, from my perspective, from what I remember, they can't remove that. So even with that tape, they wouldn't have been able to enter it into court. I mean, how are you going to authenticate the person who made the tapes is deceased? And this is who y'all on trial for. But because Tommy killed Ruiz, and it was on tape. And at that time, Tommy crazy behind thought that Ghost had tried to set him up. He done jumped out and went straight savage on the poor man. I mean, he stabbed him good, like from behind, just shanked him with a big ass, I don't know, was that a machete or whatever it was, but Tommy looked crazy. I was like, okay, come through, Jack Nixon. Wait till they get a load of me. And I was like, Tommy, you need to calm down, dude. You're stabbing folk, you're running folk over. But Dominican Shrek did deserve to get ran over. So basically, Tommy did that. So now, we both implicated. And the funny part about that is sad that poor little Bailey had to die there on the floor for really nothing, as it turns out. So Tommy really didn't need to kill dude, but he did anyways, because he thought that Ghost was going to turn on him. Because when Bailey was explaining what would have to happen in order for Proctor to save James St. Patrick, that's when the shit got real. That's when Tommy jumped out. And so he learned before, because I don't know Tommy just jumped first and then asked questions later. And by then it's too late because somebody is severely injured or dead. So, gonna be some slow singing and flower bringing. And I'm just like, why, Tommy? So he learns that the reason why Ghost broke into Greg's house in the first place was to exonerate him because he knew about the recording. Oh shit, I stabbed dude for no reason at all. Sorry, dude, on the floor bleeding out on my lawyer's floor. And then Tommy was like, well, I'm glad I ain't got to get another lawyer because finding a new lawyer in New York. I'm like, dude, you done killed somebody. Because Proctor was like, I guess I'll clean this up. Don't worry, I know a guy. I'm sure you do, Proctor. I'm sure you do. Either way, everybody implicate blood in, blood out. Let's get into it. Poor Julio. I am concerned about him. I think that Dre is playing a very dirty game with Julio because Julio's been in the fold long before Dre came along. So Dre is still new. Dre also was supposed to be watching out for Tariq. He's not doing a good job with that. Tariq is showing up at these parties, doing shit he ain't got no business doing. We saw him already setting up his little friends, getting them robbed and stolen, and he getting loot from that. 50 cents to set him up with some little hot girl from around the way, the hood, and he done lost his virginity. And Dre's just really being dirty. And I feel bad for Julio because he's kind of ended up caught up in a rock in a hard place with all of this. So Julio is like the distributor connect, and the Dominican dude is like, yo man, what's up with your boy Tommy? I got a soldier that can't work. He done broke his leg and all this stuff. And so Julio didn't know. And Julio's like, well, it's going to be okay, but he can't get out of line like that anymore. Dude tells him, you got to earn respect because it don't look like you very well respected in here in your own organization. When he talks to Tommy about it, Tommy's like, it sounds like a personal problem to me. And plus, he'll be all right. And handicapped people get all the great parking spots. But it would have been nice if Tommy had told him. And that's why I'm getting more and more concerned about Julio. Like, is Tommy gonna take him out for being a bitch ass? I mean, I don't know, because maybe he feel that way about Julio at this point, but we'll see. Dre has been messing around with the Dominican and hanging out with him, talking about Julio ain't on his game and offering effing, but Dre is stupid too. Number one, not only are you messed up with Tariq because you lied, you should have been and told somebody that Kanan was back. Now you doing business on the side with one of the distributors, one of the people that has to sell the drugs, and you throwing Julio under the bus, but his woman is there. I'm trying to figure out, like, what the fuck is up with that, Dre? You really are dumb. And Tariq, he got to go. He can't be on the show no more. I don't think he going to make it. I don't think he going to finish out season 4. I think, or he might end up in a coma. I don't know, because he running around with grown-ass men using you as a pawn to obtain money, and you getting a little piece of change. You doing something strange for a little piece of change and acting out, being disrespectful to your mom, your sister, and you think that these Negroes are real. When he got in the room with that little girl, because I guess 50 Cent had noticed that he'd been checking her out, or Kanan, or Slim, and the little girl talking about, well, what are you doing here? Once the girl finds out that he's like from the nicer part of town, she's like, well, what are you doing here? And he was like, oh no, these dudes are pretty real. They're real. I'm like, Real is when you get a bullet in your ass, Tariq. That's when you gonna feel something, okay? Real is when they shoot you up with some hot drugs and knock you out, because I foresee that in your future. These type of dudes you don't want to mess with. But Dre gonna die behind that. Either way, he got deflowered, y'all, I guess. I mean, that was implied in this coming together. Feeling on your legs and your thighs, girl. I just made that up. But hey, we all in this together, aren't we? Ghost no longer will be paying mobster Tony, because he was like, I know you killed Stiletti. I love when you can get in somebody's face and like let them know you have the upper hand. Like, for instance, this dude I used to date back in the day, ran into him when I was out and about. Wondered whatever happened to him. Come to find out, he had a fiance. He had all of this. And it was amazing how I found this out from a third party that totally didn't know me or him, or having even been in somewhat of a relationship, right? So when he was talking to me, how come you don't call me sometimes? And blah, blah, blah. I was like, in my mind, like, are you freaking crazy? Like, why would I call you? Dude, I got you by the balls. I said, I know what your fiance's name is. I know where her salon is. So if I were you, I would fuck off, okay? Who told you this? They're lying. I was like, that's a tale right there. Just like Mobster Tony. Oh! James got you by the balls. He told me, ain't gonna be no more drops, no more payoffs. Do you think the Stiletti family would be interested in learning about how you killed their father? I'm sure they would like to know. And your poor wife, your poor sick wife. Ain't that sad? Boy, you would have thought that Teresi saw ghosts then. No more drops. And basically this episode was so intense. After I watched it, I needed a shot of whiskey and a serious painkiller, like some Percocet, I guess, because my head was hurting after this episode. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I think the biggest thing is, out of this episode, is Tommy and Proctor. That was the biggest thing. I also see Keisha as an issue, because you can tell that she's kind of jealous. You know how you have those friends where they root for you on the low, but at the same time, the green-eyed monster is always lurking somewhere in the back. Like, honestly, Keisha feels like Tasha always got whatever she wanted, and Keisha ended up holding the bag. So that's kind of why she's messing around with Tommy. But Tommy really don't see her like that, because he still has to deal with the blood on his hands from Holly and his now deceased child. Another thing that was messed up in this episode is when we saw the freezing of the assets. I think that was totally messed up. Keisha's shop got locked down. If things couldn't get worse, in that day, Tasha goes to confront the headmaster at her children's private school about the paparazzi being there. And old girl, as calmly as she could, to my, y'all kids are the only kids that have their father on trial for murdering a federal agent. I'm so sorry. And by the way, the bank won't even honor any more of your checks from either you or your husband at this time. So if your kids want to stay here and not face suspension, Miss St. Patrick, I suggest you find a new bank and find somebody else to write you some checks. I was like, ooh. So now everybody's screwed. Like, Truth got shut down. Everything. And what's messed up is now Tommy can't wash the money anymore. Him and Tasha can't run their business through there. So what they gonna do? So let's find out next week. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this episode. I know this is delayed, and I'm gonna try to be better about trying to get these up on Sunday or Monday at the latest, because all of us get to watch Power after midnight if we have the Stars app. Get into it, because I think it's only like $5 a month to stream it. So, and you get all the episodes, so I totally encourage you guys to get into it. I think that's all. I hope I didn't miss anything, because both of the episodes are starting to run together, because we now know what happens in the following week, for those of you who are watching this and have already seen episode 5. But up next, I will be reviewing episode 5. Again, if this is your first time on this YouTube channel, please be sure to comment, subscribe, like. Let's have a discussion about this. I think Power is a very well-written story. I like the fact that at the very end of every episode, Courtney Kemp comes on and tells us why she did the things that she did in these episodes. And if you don't know who Courtney Kemp is, she is the producer of this show. And probably writes and directs, too. I wouldn't be surprised. That's all my time. You have been all that. And create your own magic.